It was a peaceful morning on the 8th of July 2003. From the small northern German town of Hanover, a high-speed train was heading toward Hamburg. Everything inside seemed perfectly normal. People were reading newspapers, sipping coffee, and children were smiling while watching the passing scenery. It felt as if life would always flow with this calmness. But no one knew that just 12 minutes later, this peace would turn into disaster. A piece of steel suddenly pierced through the floor, passing between passengers as if death itself had carved a path straight through life. This was the moment when the world's safest and fastest train became a symbol of destruction. Today, let's explore the story behind this massive accident and who was truly responsible. In the late 20th century, the world was witnessing a speed revolution. Japan's Shinkansen bullet train amazed the globe. Journeys that took hours were now completed in minutes. Inspired by this, Europe pushed the limits of speed, and Germany launched its first high-speed train, the InterCity Express. Its computerized systems, aerodynamic design, and comfort impressed everyone. Soon, people were calling its journey better than air travel. But every new technology has its weakness, and for this train, the weakness was in its wheels. Initially, the InterCity Express wheels were made from solid steel. They worked fine at first, but a few years later, engineers noticed a strange humming in some coaches at high speeds. Even light vibrations made luggage rattle. Upon inspection, they discovered that the steel wheels were wearing unevenly, causing imbalance in the train. Engineers introduced a solution: resilient wheels. These wheels had steel layers on the outside and inside, with a rubber layer in between to absorb shocks. This design worked well for trams running at 30 kilometers per hour. But the InterCity Express ran at 250 kilometers per hour. Without thorough testing, these wheels were installed on all trains in 1992. For a few years, everything seemed normal. But in 1997, a train company noticed cracks in these wheels. They issued a warning immediately. The response? Nothing to worry about. And that negligence turned into a catastrophe the following year. On the 3rd of June 1998, at exactly 10:43 a.m., the InterCity Express was running at full speed. 14 coaches carried 287 passengers. Everything seemed fine. Then a loud bang shook the train. A piece of steel burst through the floor, a fragment of a broken wheel. George Dittman, travelling with his family in the first coach, immediately stood up. He sent his family ahead and ran to alert the conductor. But by railway rules, the emergency brakes could not be applied until the conductor personally inspected the issue. The train was still speeding at 200 kilometers per hour, and the countdown to disaster had begun. By the time the conductor returned, the train had travelled 3 kilometers. The broken wheel hit a track switch, causing 2 coaches to stay on one track, while the third shifted to another and collided with a bridge pillar, collapsing half the bridge. The rear coaches crashed into each other, some buried under 300 tons of concrete. Only the first 2 coaches, where George's family was, survived. The engine stopped 3 kilometers later. But the damage was already done. The accident occurred near Eschede. Flames, smoke, and screams filled the scene. People were running in all directions. Over 1,000 rescue workers, soldiers, and doctors rushed to help, aided by a nearby medical conference. 40 doctors immediately began treating the injured, but it was too late. In total, 101 people lost their lives, 88 were injured, and many were permanently disabled. Initially, investigators suspected a car had crossed the tracks. But when the steel fragment was found lodged in the first coach, the truth became clear. Shockingly, there had been 8 complaints about these wheels, none replaced. The company had modern machines capable of detecting cracks, yet they ignored them. The Fraunhofer Institute had also warned that these flexible wheels were dangerous, but the warning went unheeded. And finally, the inevitable happened. A 300-ton train claimed dozens of lives. After the Eschede disaster, high-speed trains worldwide were inspected. Flexible wheels were removed, replaced with solid monoblock steel wheels. Bridges were reinforced and trains were rerouted for safety. Even today, the Eschede tragedy is taught in German railway institutes. No matter how fast you go, if safety is ignored, a single moment can change everything. A tiny crack, a single moment, and everything is lost. If you found this story gripping, like the video, subscribe to the channel, and tell us in the comments, is speed more important than life? See you in the next video with another reality, another story.